With another special presentation. It is the Austintown Fitch Coach's Corner with the legend himself, the second-year coach of the Austintown Fitch Falcons. He is TJ Parker. DJ TJ Connection here, week one of, like I told you, 16 Teach. Tell me a little bit about how the summer was for you. What were the numbers like in the weight room? And what are things looking like here in 2021?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't be more impressed with our kids. I'm sure you guys have seen some social media posts, but all the way down from our seventh graders all the way up to our juniors who are now seniors all off season. The commitment, the buy-in has been there, and we're creating a program where these kids don't only want to be good, they want to be great. And the numbers were up. And then, as you get through the summer grind, which it really was for us, it was an interesting summer in terms of our kids haven't been out to see college coaches in a year and a half, and they're watching film, and, they want to see these kids live and in person. So our program, our boosters, especially our touchdown club, who's unbelievable for us. We created some things where, our kids didn't have to pay one dime, and we were going to 8+ camps, staying overnight, took a trip through West Virginia and then to Marshall and got our kids out there. And great experiences for our kids to be in those pressure situations earlier. But as a staff and as our kids, I mean, June was tough. We were 5-6 days a week with 7-on-7s and then camps and then our own practices to install our own stuff. Then we kind of eased into it in July, but did some things on our own to kind of push our program and schematics forward right into camp. And things have been good to this point. It's a competitive atmosphere, tempers flare, roller coaster in the summer. And these guys, the last 2 weeks have been great because we finally got to hit someone else in a different jersey. So in our own locker room, we're finally coming together, I want to say, as a team rather than offense, defense. And it's funny to see when we got guys going both ways. One day they're talking stuff and getting in fights with the offense, and the next day they're in our huddle saying, throw me the ball, I got to score. So it's been a good atmosphere. I'm proud. Our 7th and 8th grade kicked off things last night, and what a crazy week for us. Such a week for our community. Our 7th and 8th grade kicked off yesterday versus Cheney. They both got big victories. Tonight, our freshman team goes. Friday, we go. And then Sunday, our youth goes. So, literally, K-12, every kid's playing Cheney this week, and that's how it should be, and something our community, I know, is proud of, and I'm very proud of it.
Now, you're obviously heavy into Feed the Nest, and you talk about K-12 in your interviews. You have walked the walk, that you have talked the talk, my brother. It's exciting to watch. One of the biggest things is bigger, faster, stronger in this offseason. You guys have done it seemingly better than most. You've really bought in. The kids have bought into the program, and I think that's most important. What have you seen in the weight room from them specifically that's going to make the difference on the field this Friday night?
First, I would be doing an injustice if I took credit for that. I mean, let's talk about the backing first of our administration, who felt the need and understood the demand it took to hire Dan Wedding, our strength and conditioning coach. He is the second head coach for every single sports team we have. So when we're in there on them, it's another fresh voice. That's his season for them, all off season. But in the off season, the numbers, the commitment, and I think the understanding of what it takes in order to be great, in order to meet our program's expectations. Coach Wedding always talks about raising the standard. And last year we set a standard in what we call year zero, because it wasn't year one. It was year zero. This is year one, and the standard has been raised. Legitimately, our first off season, and what I've seen from the kids, up front, those guys are just a tight-knit group. All of them, for the most part, one sport athletes, some two, that just committed themselves to not only the weight room, but the diet after, the schematics on the field by themselves, working in the winter, in the gym, working in the winter. It was great to have our quarterback, not the way I'd want him, but he had shoulder surgery right after the season, and he had to go through rehab all offseason. So to have your team leader in there pushing was another positive. But the hunger is definitely there, and the expectations of what we expect is there, and those guys have honestly met them and in some instances exceeded them.
So last year, a weird year. You talk about year zero. This year, a little bit weird too, because we're starting a week earlier. Now, I'm going to ask you if you're ready. No coach is ever ready, particularly. You always want that one more practice, one more week, whatever it takes to get yourself a little bit more prepared. Do you feel like it's snuck up on you a little bit, and like it's here, coach? It's here. We're playing.
Yeah, I believe our staff as a whole, it's a great staff, and they give me great feedback. And we've put pressure on ourselves, and we're constantly in the war room discussing, we're ready. I mean, we've been ready for this for a while. And of course, as a staff, you like those extra practices, but we are ready. We've been waiting for this a long time. And it literally does feel like 2 weeks ago I was talking to you and doing this again because of the tornado that has been the off season and now, and it doesn't feel like I've had a day off, but this is something that we're ready to get started. We want these Friday nights to begin. We want it to be game week, and yeah, I can't tell you how excited myself, our staff, and our boys are.
Now, obviously, you got a lot of players to feature. One of the ones I definitely want to talk about, Devin Sherwood, one of the best quarterbacks in the area. You said he's coming off of surgery. So, what are your expectations for him? What are his expectations for himself coming off of that surgery and going into his senior year that can be very fruitful for him?
Yeah, my expectations are for him just to be a quarterback in our program. And as a great player, what we talk about with him is, good players, make all the plays that are needed. Great players make the exceptional plays. And with Devin, we want him to make all the right plays. And then when it's time to make an exceptional play, we anticipate he'll make that. Now, if you talk to Devin's expectations, that kid don't lack in confidence. He shoots for the stars, and we wouldn't want it any other way. The kid's a warrior. In terms of his health, he's back. He's ready to roll. And do whatever our programs ask. And, he did it all last year, banged up, and this year's going to be no different. And then it being his senior year, he takes pride in that, and pride in his friends and the kids he grew up with and the kids he's played with. This class has been waiting for this year for a long time, and we're excited to have them.
Some new names, as you lost some guys last year. We will have every game right here on YSN from pillar to post, all 16 weeks, Coach, as we talk about who are some of the names that, maybe Ty will be announcing on Friday nights that we should be accustomed to over the next 16 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, some familiar names that you'll hear from last year again. We'll start on defense. I usually start on offense because I'm an offensive guy, but we'll start on defense. Up front, Donovan Oliver, a returning starter. He was all Mahoning County last year, all conference. We expect him to have a big year up front. Josh Fitzgerald, who rotated in, he's one of those guys we talked about who committed himself in the offseason, actually joined wrestling to kind of lose weight, get in shape, and then hit the weight room 2 times a day on multiple days. He's ready to go both ways for us, so I'm excited about him. And then we had a transfer in from Western Reserve who lives in the district, Aaron Hively. He's a big body, athletic, and just that tough country kid. Those 3 up front, they're going to put pressure on offenses, and we're excited to have that to work with. Behind them, we have some young guys who we're super excited about, and Kylan Foster and Brian Robinson. Those 2 guys are oozing with talent, and that's untapped right now, but they've put the work in terms of trying to get better weekly. So as the season goes, they'll go too. With Aaron Hively moving in, we've had the luxury to move our all-region defensive end last year, a name you'll see on both sides of the ball, A.J. Bird. We moved him to Mike Backer, and he's done nothing but excel. He loves it in there. He gets to be on the tackles every play. He's a plug in the middle, and he can go sideline to sideline. Outside of him, we return 2 starters in Tyree Mitchell, who'll be, both ways for us. He's back. He's a name you announced quite a few times last year, but he'll return. On the other side, or backing him up, is a sophomore, DJ Williams, who that's a name you guys better get used to calling for the next few years. We're excited to unleash him on both sides of the ball, but that kid's oozing with talent, and he's excited to do it on Friday nights. On the other side, you got 2 seniors who are just tough, scrappy kids, undersized, but Devin Pounds is a returning starter for us, and then CJ Schisler, a guy who got tons of game experience for us last year, always finds his way around the ball. And those two we're confident with. Noah Thomas, a sophomore, is going to give us some help in the middle. And then our secondary is just one that Coach Tate, Coach Karenik, those guys have done wonders with. We return a freshman who started last year in Dan Evans. He's going to be a lockdown guy for us. He can take away half of the field and take someone's best receiver out himself. Then you return a guy who's getting Power 5 looks, and Cam Smith will be more of a 3 safety look this year. So Cam Smith will play that safety linebacker role. That allows him to be in coverage and be around the ball as much as possible. With his length and speed, we feel that just fits him perfectly. Then we'll have a returner. And, honestly, as Devin Sherwood goes, this kid runs our team too. He is the motor of our team and one of the guys that we'll be looking forward to all year, and that's Tyler Evans, a returning starter on both ways. He should have a big year on both sides of the ball. Backing him up is Bryant Butler, a junior who's had a great offseason. And then at the other safety position, sophomore Deshaun Vaughn, another talented young kid who's also our backup quarterback. He'll be there, and backing him up is Don Perry. And then at the corner position, it's a battle between a junior and Arthur Kroom and a sophomore and Davion Pritchard. And both of them have made plays all summer, and I think the 7-on-7s have really helped them grow. And really looking forward to those guys competing out there. So it's a defense that has grown a ton from last year, and I think our defensive staff has looked at our weaknesses and from last year and accepted the challenge, and they're competing. They know their assignments, and you're going to see a very well coached, a very fast, and a very physical defense this year. I do believe that.
So you look at all of that, and you wrap it up into this 2021 season where we've seen the schedule, Coach. Last year, you had a schedule that was condensed. It was makeshift. You played the SVC. Now, your schedule's loaded again. It's that tough Fitch schedule that you love because you're going to see immediately, especially here in week 1, where you stack up. This is the West Side rivalry. Everybody knows it. They're happy it's back. Talk to me about your plan, and not to give away too much, against the Cheney Cowboys in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, just going in there, when you look at Cheney, it's a typical Cheney team. Their players, I have all the respect for those guys, and they have talented guys. They've always had. When you have two ends that can get after the quarterback and control a line of scrimmage, like a Power 5 guy in Clive Wilson, who's going to Boston College, and then J.R. Tellington, who has just received a D1 scholarship from HBU. I mean, those two guys getting after your O-line and after our quarterback, they cause some concerns. They do. And they return guys in the middle. I know they're returning a D tackle who was tough and quick for them last year, just gets to the football, just one of those tough Cheney grinders. Their linebackers, 2 returners, and Christian Jones and another guy. And then, you have Jason Hewlett. He's their guy. He's their do-everything guy, and kid's a very good player. And we hope to do defensively. We hope to do our best to contain him and put him in situations to cause just quick decisions. Mm-hmm. And then hopefully our defense can take advantage of that. But we understand, too, that he's a great player. He's going to make some plays, and we'll have that next play attitude. I know on the outside they just got a couple new faces that you'll see in terms of that DJ Waller kid that they got over from East, the long, lanky receiver, who's going to be a matchup for us. And then they have some guys in the backfield, and I know they'll always have their quick scat backs, but with J.R. Tellington handling the rock, the kid's a load. And what we got to do, what we've talked about, with Cheney and them first, week 1, game 1, West Side rivalry back, and we love that. You know what I mean? We love. Last year it was exciting. You got to play your rivals, and our rivalry game week 1. So we have a little taste of that. But now to bring back, such a crosstown rivalry where emotions are high, expectations are high, and we've talked to our kids like right now. the good programs, all of them are thinking, hey, we're going undefeated game by game. We're pushing for a long playoff. Everyone thinks they're the team to beat right now in week 0. So coming up to week 1, we know we're going to get their best. And we fully expect that, and we fully want that. We want the challenge. We love those games. So I think our goals, what we've talked about, first is just managing the emotions. We want to get off to a fast start. We want to contain number 5. We want to put pressure on them. We want to force some turnovers. And offensively, we talk about all the time. We got to take care of the ball, make the right reads, make the decisions. And honestly, I think what we're most excited about is the challenge of going against their 2D ends. Our guys, we know we're going to see a lot like them throughout our schedule. And we want to try to go right at them for a little bit and see what we can do.
I love it. Listen, you're one of those guys that I'm ready to run through this brick wall that surrounds us every time I talk to you. All right, so this is Coach's Corner for Austintown Fitch, brought to you by our friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Thanks to Greg Greenwood and the whole crew who make so many things possible in Austintown, especially here on your sports network. 2 more quick questions for you, Coach, before we let you go. Off the script a little bit, one of our questions this week on our show Power Hour was, would you rather go 1-9 and beat your most fierce rival, or go 9-1 and lose to them but sweep the rest of the year?
Oh, man.
Tough.
If the season is a long, grinding season, and as much weight as we put on rivalry games, we live that going 7-1 and losing to a rival in what we feel program-wise. They might be in a different area, but program-wise, our kids feel Warren Harding is our rival. So we went through that last year, and winning cures a lot. Winning is gasoline to the motor. So when you can get through weeks and weeks, I don't want to take anything away from those rivalry games, but a 1-9 season and beating your rival is not something that I would expect for our program. We'll go 9-1 and then give us an off season to figure out how to come back at that rival to turn it into 10-0. I'll tell you that. We got a lot more to work with the 9-1.
I love it. All right, final question for you, a little bit more personal. You being an awesome dad, being an awesome coach, talk to me about some of the similarities that you have to take from one to the other and kind of switch them.
I think the biggest similarity that I can tell coaches and dads is I'm sitting here doing the interviews right now, but you got to hire great assistants. And in my case, I married a great assistant. So I couldn't be more proud of that. And she knows what we're going through. It's year 0, and as we try to get better and better, we hope things can slow down a little bit, but with the understanding it's not. But, I have 3 beautiful kids and a 4th on the way, scheduled for Warren Week. Only she would do that, you know what I mean? But I told her it better be out, Boardman Warren, because when we get into week 11, that's going to put more pressure on Dad. But we love it. My family wouldn't have it any other way, and I think our program wouldn't have it any other way. We love the rat race. You've talked about it, the schedule, the never getting the kind of a second to breathe. It makes life go fast, but it makes life worth living. And it off my wife, who's unbelievable, but my staff is also unbelievable too. My assistants who work their butts off for me and make my job a lot easier. I can't be thankful enough.
TJ Parker, the head coach of the Austintown Fitch Falcons, kicking off this Friday against the Cheney Cowboys. Best of luck to you as always. And again, thank you for your time.